Hi everyone, it's Angie. I am here to talk to you today about a touchy subject that I keep hearing more and more about, and that subject is restraining orders. They're also called harassment restraining orders, HRO, and orders of protection. In Minnesota, the difference between an HRO and an order of protection is with an order of protection, there has to be violence or a threat of violence, and you have to have kind of proof. Well, yeah. And then with the HRO order, basically, it comes down to you can get it on anyone. If I feel threatened or scared of my waitress at a restaurant, I could go to court tomorrow, fill out papers, have a judge read it, have the waitress have no idea this is coming, no way to defend themselves. It's just, it's if the judge feels that they have evidence, or I don't even know if it needs evidence. I think some judges just kind of go on the side of caution for these, and part of me agrees with that. I think that that's good, because you never know. I'm sure they see a ton of these. But what I really wish something could change was HROs used in divorce cases. I think if there's an open divorce case, that before a judge can order a restraining order, I think it should be both parties in front of the judge. I am the first to say, which it's really it's been very, very shameful. It's been very embarrassing, and this is probably one of the hardest subjects that I'll ever talk about. But anyone can go and lie to get a restraining order. They can make up whatever they want. A judge could grant it. What that means is you have 2 weeks to go in front of a judge and prove your case. It's not really they have to prove, it's you have to prove. And so what happens when you have a HRO and there's a threat? Like he could worry that I could possibly hurt him, or I could possibly harass him. That makes no sense to me. So how is someone supposed to defend on a possibility of something happening? And there's one damn thing I'm sure in this process is I feel so terrible for the countless and countless of men that go through this. This is generally a men's issue. It's not usually a stay-at-home mom's issue that has never been in a fight in her life, that's never been violent, that kind of make love, not war. But when you divorce a man who's already been divorced once with a contentious divorce, who knows how to play the game, even use the same attorney, he knew exactly what he was doing. And I just fell victim to that role. I think the part that's the hardest is that so many people in the very beginning, my work had me take off work twice to go get a restraining order against him, because he was just, crazy things were happening, crazy, especially when I filed divorce papers. It was like leaving the narcissist. Here we go. All shit broke loose. All shit. I had nowhere to go, but we did this nesting thing where when I had the kids, I stayed home. When he had his kid, he was at the house, and then the other person had to find places to go. And I'm so naive to think that when people told me, you need to get a restraining order, Angie, he's setting you up. And even my therapist said, Angie, he's pushing you over the edge to make you look crazy to everyone. You're not crazy. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Stop. But what happens when you get a restraining order, which the whole day I was in shock. I mean, I'll go on to that a different time. But what makes me so mad is here is him threatening to kick me out. And I said, I agree. I can't afford this house. It's a 6-bedroom house. I need this house. But for shit's sake, my son was leaving for the Army in a matter of a couple weeks. And my son and his daughter, who go to the same high school, same friends, same family, were having a joint graduation party. So I thought, I'm really not going to fill out these restraining orders and then have him not be able to go to his own, his daughter's party. I mean, what the heck? And I told everyone, I have so many texts. I'm like, you guys just, once this restraining order, or once this graduation party's over, if he's still acting this way, I will go. 2 times I went to the courthouse to get this restraining order. 2 times I chickened out. I thought, it's not that bad. They're just being crazy. They're being overprotective. And, I wish I would have listened to him. Kind of sometimes I do. That broke me. In so many ways that I can't even tell you. That whole day is probably one of the worst days of my whole life. Not only did he have a bogus restraining order, which was all so many lies. He said I was destroying the house, and he had 8 pictures, big 8x10 printouts of 4 Cheeto balls on the floor. My attorney, when he was looking at this, and even the legal assistants, was like, does he have OCD? He had pictures of my text to him. Okay, well, when you find out that your husband has a girlfriend, there's some mean messages. Were they like, you effing asshole? Yes. Were they like, I'm going to hurt you, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to take all your money? No. I can show you so many texts that I sent him saying, please, for our kids' sake, can we get along? Let's just make this whatever. Because I've been married before, I've been divorced before, we got along. I mean, shit, my first ex and I, it just didn't work. We just were different. We got pregnant right away, just like it happened in the second marriage, and we drove to court together. My sister, I made her drop me off at his house the night before, so that's kind of a funny thing, but that's how I thought divorces are. I knew what happened. I saw how his kids were with him and his ex not getting along, and I saw how easy it was for my kids that didn't have so much conflict on them. And so I was determined to give Jackson that stability. But when the restraining order came and I was kicked out of my house and I had nowhere to go and I have these kids, and then he set me up to violate the restraining order, I'll have to go on that about later, because that's just really, I need to have waterproof mascara on for that episode. My whole point is these restraining orders, and I wish that there's something that could be done for men, but I couldn't freaking believe when we got to court, his attorney just drilled me. He's like, aren't you trying to ruin your husband's business? I'm like, what's our business? We were married when we started. Why would I, that's who pays our bills. No. All these crazy things. I mean, he just overloaded his restraining order with all these crazy things. He said that I was suicidal and I had tried to commit suicide a few months before that. Which, okay. So, I don't really understand that, but I'm going to go on to that story because that's a really fucked up story too. So one of my sons sent a message to my dad and said, Grandpa, something's wrong with Mom. I don't know what's wrong with her. She's not herself. So my dad knows what's going on in my marriage. He sends my ex a message and says, I'm going to come and pick up Angie and take her to the hospital. My ex's reply, no, don't. Okay, so if you really thought that I was committing suicide and I was unconscious or whatever, why would you put me in a bathtub? A clawfoot bathtub. I mean, this is not like a small bathtub. This is a clawfoot bathtub. And why would you put me in a bathtub and then go to the store? Why wouldn't you call 911? I asked that. Actually, I think he said that he didn't call 911 because he didn't want Jackson to be scared. And I think, what? Okay. So you'd rather have like the medical examiner, if you really thought that I was committing suicide. I don't remember any of this. I don't remember the day. I don't remember what, but I know I wasn't committing suicide. I just woke up like a day later, or maybe I don't know when it was, and I just didn't even remember any of this. But he tried everything to get me out of the house, and the only way he could do it was get a restraining order. And so I'm telling you, and my hope is that restraining orders of protection, they were made for a purpose, and that is used as protect people from harm. But what if they're used to harm people going through a divorce? When you get divorced and you have a restraining order, automatically, it doesn't mean that you're possibly a threat. It means you are a threat. And it means that that whole divorce, it's going to play on that. Oh, I'm like, I've never been in a fight. I've never hurt anyone. I mean, you're seeing texts that say, F you, asshole. But yeah, you didn't see what was sent before that. And I had to go, well, 2 weeks before that, I was supposed to go 2 weeks after that, but it was my grandma's funeral, and I was a speaker, so I had a choice between go to my grandma's funeral or fight the restraining order. I told my attorney that I can't miss my grandma's funeral, and he said, that's fine, but I just want you to know the longer you're out of that house, the less likely a judge is going to let you go back in. So when a month goes by and I hadn't seen my son because he already set me up once. When I finally went to court, his attorney was just drilling the shit out of me. I mean, I was like an emotional wreck, which is one thing I've learned. Just be calm, because what happens with these narcissist men is he had pages upon pages, 80 pages of lies that I felt the need, I needed to defend each and every lie. Well, what happens when that happens? You look crazy. And I looked crazy. I looked crazy to my family. I looked crazy to my friends. I looked crazy to the judges, I'm sure. I mean, I was bound for someone to listen to me, and I didn't get that. The judge actually in our restraining order case said, Miss Gross, calm down. It's okay. You're going to get your chance to speak. Your attorney will cross-examine you after. I'm like, okay, thank you. And, he was saying that I violated restraining order because my mom was at my house and I asked her to get my pillow and blanket. Like, fuck, I had no comfort. I had no home. My mom lived in a studio. I hadn't talked to her in like 4 years before this, but I had nowhere else to go with these kids, and I was a shit show. I wanted to die, and I cried every single night for God to take me to heaven with my grandma. And every single morning I woke up and I'm like, fuck, I'm still here. And it just felt so wrong. And when my attorney, what my ex was doing in his restraining order was he was projecting. Everything he did, he accused me of doing. Something was wrong with my scooter, like the brakes or something. And he accused me at the, in the restraining order of tampering with the brakes in his trailer. I'm like, you're really giving me credit, because I had no idea trailers had their own brakes. I thought when the truck stops, the trailer stops. I have no idea where brakes are in my car. I have no idea. Just stupid shit like this. So when it was finally time and we had all this evidence of me begging him to get along and him calling me all these names, I was like, okay, let's go. Now the judge is going to see it's really him that should have it. Well, after he was done, his attorney was done asking me all these questions, my attorney got up and kind of choked and asked if he could have a continuance or something. And I'm like, wait, wait, no, what? What are you doing? Like, no, ask me. Come on, ask me. Please, 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 please. And apparently he has panic. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Really? Really? Huh. This is my life. And this is what happened every step of the way in this divorce. It was like, nobody knows except one person, and that is my therapist, kind of, who I love, and I wouldn't be here without her. Like, I can't even tell you. The restraining orders need to change, because after that one, and the judge, when he asked for the continuance, the judge kind of looked at him like, why? And she actually stopped, and she goes, and this was without being cross-examined, she goes, actually, 99% of the things you're bringing up here belong in family court, not mine. So, which I put super glue in the door lock because my therapist kind of said that if it was her, she'd do that, and I kind of went with it. And not that she told me to do it, I did it. Just kind of put the idea in my head, and it was my own door for my house. That's the only thing I did. Only thing. I didn't lock his kids out like he did mine. I mean, he's just crazy. 2 more times he tried getting me for another restraining order. The second time, he had about 40 pictures of the house being egged and TP'd and claimed I did it. Really? Like, I'm going to TP and egg my house? Okay, well, maybe you should tell the judge that there's like 5 teenagers that live on that street and 5 other houses that got TP'd and egged. Am I doing theirs too? And what about the third time he tried getting the restraining order? Let me tell you, each time I got, it was proven to have no guilt. I didn't need a restraining order. But he played the victim card very, very well. And my defense was really difficult. I didn't really ever have an attorney that just kind of took over. It was me writing questions. And I'm telling you, that's something 3 times. The third time, that's a doozy. That's a really doozy. I was apparently acting sexual at a bar when I was out. And I didn't have our son. And it was my 40th birthday. Like, why do you care how I act when I'm at a bar when I'm not having to parent our child? Why do you care? Who's stalking who? He had some guy that I met that wrote this statement. He had an ex that I dated right after we separated who ended up being crazier than him. I mean, just crazy. That actually tried not killing me, but yeah, like, hurt me bad, that he had a felony domestic assault. And he used him. And that guy wrote a letter to the judge saying that he knew for a fact that I had harassed and stalked my husband. Okay, get his ass on stand. Let's do it. Did you see her stalk or harass her husband? No. Did she tell you she stalked or harassed her husband? No. Did you hear about her doing this? I mean, no, but that's just the type of person she is. I'm like, you have me in this freaking courthouse because you have pending charges for hurting me, and my ex is going to use him? Really, Jeff? You're going to use... I'm still the mother of his child. And the fact that he knew what that man did to me, it's when everything changed. It was a game changer. I realized, I don't know, my ex, there's more to Narcissist than I ever imagined. And game on. That was game on. I never quite fought back yet, but I will never, ever, ever look at him in the same fashion after that. I mean, all the restraining order, kick me out of my house, take away all the money, sell all the stuff, lie about all the finances. I don't care about all that. But you're going to bring a man that the court has 2 restraining orders on them because apparently with the 4 other charges he had violating those restraining orders, or orders of protection. So the judge apparently put 2 on. I don't know. You're going to bring him into our divorce? What the hell? So that is my restraining order. All 3 times I've denied it. I have to go and get my violating restraining order for going in and getting my bra and underwear an hour after it was put on, because my teenage kids didn't know where to look for it. And my dad called my ex and said, no one's home. Can she just go in and get that? Don't make the boys go and get... My dad was probably thinking I was getting thongs or something. Don't make them do that. And he said, yeah, that's fine. She can go in. I was in there and out of there within like 40 seconds. I mean, I didn't even know. I grabbed coloring books, some meditation shit, and I was out, bra and underwear. And 40 minutes later, a police calls, asked me if I was in my house. I'm like, yes, he said I could. He asked my dad. My dad talked to him. Doesn't matter. He knows that, and you know that. You can't be in the house. I'm like, oh my God. I'll go into that more. But that was just, it's this whole thing. And it's not just the divorce, it's growing up in craziness. I got a story to tell.